Oh, yeah.
Have you heard anything? Well, I heard that there was billions of dollars. Oh, yeah. So,
But they didn't pay for the TV.
Call the meeting to order, and let's please rise. I'd ask the treasurer, Lisa Mathenia, to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And one correction, that's Lisa Fitzgerald. All right, let's go on into the roll call. Clerk?
Mosby. Cody. Here. Smith. Here. Spencer. Here. Hand.
Here.
Roy.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the special council meeting on 10 July and the regular council meeting on 15 July 2025?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Discussion? Take the vote.
Cody.
Yes.
Smith. Spencer.
Yes.
Hand.
Yes.
Roy.
Aye. And under public forum first this evening, Suzanne Stucco with the audit results.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good.
Good. I think you have the books in front of you. This is for your annual financial report for the year that ended April 30th, 2025. If we flip to the first page, we have the report on the audit of the financial statements. This is our report issuing a clean opinion to the city. You guys do keep your books and records on the accrual basis, so there aren't any modifications to your report. If we flip over to page 4, page 4 is the balance sheet of the governmental funds. This lists your general fund, your special business district, and then this year the only non-major governmental fund you have is MFT. This was the first year that tourism was closed in the general fund for the entire year. Last year it was closed midway through the year. If we look down that total government funds, this gives you guys your total assets for the year, which at the end of the year for the governmental funds was $1,034,000. As far as total cash at the $625,500, that's down about $100,000 from last year. Last year, we were right at 5 months of cash on hand. This year, we're about 4.5 months. Typically, I'd like to see, 6 to 8 months. So, it's just a little lower, but you guys still, I have some that, only have 2 to 3 months. So, you guys are definitely, doing fine. If we flip over to page 6 gives the revenue and expenditures and changes in fund balance for your governmental funds. It lists your total revenues for the year at $1.5 million. Those were up by about $105,000 from last year. We had some movers by $10,000 to $15,000, but our big one was $90,000 increase in intergovernmental funds. So later in the report, we'll kind of look through what all that entails. The total expenditures was $1.6 million. That was down by about $90,000. Once again, all the areas fluctuated, but our biggest was our capital improvements. So, our capital outlay, excuse me. Last year, we had, a plow and a squad car. Our big expenditure was the pickleball court and the boat ramp. In this year's audit, you really just had a couple of big projects. One was $130,000 spent on the crosswalks. And then we had $7,000 spent here at City Hall for a new air conditioner. So outside of that, they were all small items that don't get capitalized. If we flip over to page 14, page 14 starts the notes to the financial statements. The notes for the city run from pages 14 through 27. There's a lot of information in here, but I'm only going to touch on a few things, probably the highlights that I usually touch on. If we flip over to page 21, 21 talks about the amount of cash that the city has. We're at total cash of $708,000 because that includes your enterprise fund and also your custodial funds that you hold on behalf of everyone else. The bank at the end of the year had $717,000. Everything the city had was collateralized, so it was either covered by the FDIC that the bank carries, or you guys had special collateral or specific collateral, definitely for just the city. If we move on to page 24, 24 note 10 talks about your interfund balances. The city's down to just having one due to, due from, and that's from our business district. When we started it, general fund was loaning it money. It's down to owing general fund $50,000. That gets paid back every year with the taxes they're collecting. The prior year, we had a balance of $72,000. So it's going down by, $20,000 to $25,000 a year. So I anticipate that should be paid off in the next couple of years. And then note 11 lists your operating transfers. This is where funds can, loan money or make permanent transfers, not loans, excuse me, to other funds. The only thing the city had this year is general fund gave money to medical claims. You guys are self-insured, so that was the amount that fund needed in order to pay for the medical expenses of the city. If we flip on over to page, I didn't write this page down, so bear with me just a second. We're gonna go to page 28. And this is what I was talking about a minute ago, where the general fund is listed out in more detail. So you guys can kind of see in that intergovernmental area where we said we had the increase, it includes things like replacement tax, sales tax. Your sales tax was up by about $18,000. We finally received that FEMA money back from the 2019 flood. So there were $54,000 there. And then you guys also received a state grant from DECIO for $50,000 to help with the sidewalk and street improvements. One of the things I missed at the top of that, your hotel and motel tax is at $140,000. That's up about $80,000 from last year. $60,000 of it is the fact that tourism closed into general fund. But I still thought that, our hotel and motel tax is up by another $20,000 even with that change. So that's definitely good for the city. Once again, if we look at the total revenues for just general fund, you're at $1,474,000. That's up about $175,000 from last year, based on the things we've already talked about. And then if you go to total expenditures, you're right over 1.6 million. And that's also up by about $78,000. Things really did kind of go up and down, but a couple of your big movers, your public safety was up by $50,000, and that includes salaries and related expenses. Your public works was up by $100,000. You guys hired another full-time employee, which made up a portion of that. And then we also just had supplies and repair and maintenance that was up by about $30,000. Then at the bottom of this schedule, you'll see the sale of capital assets. We had $12,400 that came into the city, and that was from the sale of the water plant building that you guys did this year. If we move over to page 32, 32 is your notes to required supplemental information, and note 2 talks about your actual expenditures in excess of budget. General fund was over budget by about $80,000 this year. Last year though, we were over budget by $271,000. I don't know, I didn't look at the detail, but I'm wondering if that had something to do with just, getting tourism into there and maybe some other things that happened that weren't expected. So just remember that by April 30th of each year, you guys can amend your budget if you think that you're gonna have any funds that are actually over budget. We'll move to page 37. Page 37 is your schedule of equalized assessed valuations, your tax levies, rates, and extensions. One of the things to notice in your EAV, between 22 and 23, we had an increase of 8%. Between 23 and 24, we had an 11% increase. So that's always a good thing. That means the properties here are being valued higher, which helps to increase the amount of property taxes. So that's always a good trend to have. Everybody complains about that, but everybody wants the city to have all the amenities that they want to have. So there has to be a trade-off somewhere. If we go down to the bottom of the 2024 column, that $210,000 is the estimated amount of property taxes that you guys will collect during next year. You've probably started receiving some of those payments from the county. And then down the 2023 column, the $220,000 number is the amount that was collected during the audit that we're actually working on. There are a couple, I guess I'll stop now. Do you have any questions? I know I've gone over just high level and quickly. Are there any questions before we just move to a couple of letters? Okay. The first letter is our communication of material weakness. This is us just letting the city know that we still have the same 2 findings as last year. We have the lack of segregation of duties. The city's doing a good job trying to do checks and balances. The board really pays attention to what's going on, but you still have certain people who can control lots of aspects of the financials. So, for us accountants, it's always going to be not enough to make us happy. The other one is just that you exceeded the budget in general fund that we've already talked about, and that was also another finding from last year. The final letter has a lot of verbiage in it. It's, the communication with those charged with governance. It's just our letter stating that we didn't find any significant or unusual transactions. We didn't identify or suspect fraud. Remember, we're not hired to find fraud, but if we do, we're required to let you know. And so we didn't find anything. We didn't have any difficulties while we were trying to perform the audit as far as getting information. We've attached any corrected journal entries that were made or attached to this letter. We didn't have any disagreements with management. Management signed a representation letter back to us saying you've given us everything we needed to do the audit. There's nothing that somebody hasn't told us. And that letter is also attached. And then it finally just lists any non-compliances with laws, and expenditures in excess of budget falls in that category, so that's listed there. And then I think the last thing that usually I bring with me, but I couldn't this year, is the AFR that gets filed with the comptroller. when we went to, it's actually ready this year, which last year it wasn't, but when we went to file it this year, they're still showing that Grafton has a TIF district. So I'm working with Nancy Gomez at the comptroller's office. She's trying to get that corrected so we can make sure it shows Grafton no longer has a TIF district. So hopefully the next couple weeks, we'll be able to get that submitted, and we have until the end of October to get that done. So, and we'll send you guys that version once we have it done.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Suzanne? Well, Suzanne, I'd like to thank you and your team for another audit, good audit this year. I mean, a lot of good discussions going back and forth, and as you know, we are a small community, but we have a great group of people that work at this. The first and foremost I want to thank tonight publicly is Carmen Simon, our financial manager. She's the one that keeps her nose to the books all the time and makes this audit go very well, has all the materials ready, and she assists with our financial committee, who is now in charge. The charge that is now Russ Roy, to sit there and make sure that everything that we're doing is segregated as much as we can. Realizing, as you said in the letter, the only way we can correct that is hire a bunch more people, and we can't afford that. So just to keep it segregated, but we're doing the best that we can with that. We appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Thank you guys for letting us do the audit. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is Chris Spanton. He's going to talk to us about Spanky Fest. Chris, the floor is yours. Come on up to the microphone. And if I could get Chief Womack
Stay right there, Becky.
and Mike Angel to come on up front with me.
Not yet. Ron, Mike. Alright, I think we're together, maybe. Alright, first of all, thank you for having us this evening, for allowing us to do this here at the city council meeting. We so appreciate it. We're so excited. We can't stand it. So, anyway, this is my committee, not my committee. The committee. I did not start this. Ron and Mary Jo and Tim and Holly and Mike and Peggy all started this, and I kind of caught on after I got back from Florida. So, we are so excited. This turnout was so much better than we anticipated. I have to thank probably most of you. A lot of businesses in Grafton made donations, whether it be towards a silent auction or money or time. We could not have done what we've done without the support of the whole community. And it's overwhelming. The entire project was a little overwhelming, but I am so excited. I woke up this morning grinning, knowing that Spanky would be so proud of us. And I'm very, very serious. He was a fundraiser at heart. If you knew him, you knew he was going to ask you for some money. And I am so happy that we have continued his legacy to this point. I also said, we set the bar really high. We're so excited. We've been hiding this figure for weeks on end until we had all of our own audit done. So, I think that's it. You guys know all of these people. Back in the back are our helpers. They helped us, my sister Kathy, my sister Becky, and Presley, Spank's daughter. And they were involved with the project as well. We put everybody to work we could think of. So, you girls, if you want to come on up and show Dave exactly whichever way you want to go. Don't let him see it until you get up here. We're so excited. Don't let him see it. Just go right through. Be careful, you don't rest it. All right, you three girls, please stand in front and show us what we got going.
I got to see it.
I know. What? Yes, we are donating $15,000 to the Grafton Police Department. Get in here, get in here. All right. Can you get us something?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Hang in there, man.
One guy in the back is hard to get.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
Alright. And
Let's get this thing like this.
these are the real checks. Can't take that. Oh, sorry. Come on, turn around.
Chris, put it in the middle.
Okay. Let her press it in too. Not a press it in there.
Check like that.
All of us. Oh, Becky wants one. Oh, okay. There you go. All right.
Thank
Last words, thanks to the pub, Primary Joe for hosting us. Thanks for all these people. We know they did a lot of hard work. And Dave, these are your real checks. We want that one back. We want that one back for next year, okay?
That's part of the problem.
Yes, I want Dave to say something.
Hey, thank you very much. Just gonna go to good use. We have some equipment we have to purchase, being required to, and this is gonna help go a long way towards that. So thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the monthly invoices for payment and the treasurer's report?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Take the vote.
Cody?
Yes.
Smith?
All
Spencer?
Yes.
Ham? Wright?
Planning Commission, Alderwoman Donna Smith.
Planning committee did meet last month, from project, ongoing, Sandpiper, the planning commission did meet last month, and they discussed an issue with the proposal behind the home up on Sandpiper to get all the details cleared up, what needed to be done there, to satisfy city rules, etc. It's not an issue that needs to happen for the city council, but it was an issue that needed to be settled by the planning.
And as I understand that today we received some final documents on that, so we'll get with John Taylor to schedule his next planning and zoning, and then the council will see the results of that at the next meeting. All right, thank you, Donna. Department of Public Works, Director Jake Weber.
That's right. A lot of maintenance this last month. Been hot, we've been mowing and breaking stuff, and I thought we had a problem with our crew for a minute, but we kept breaking these same bolts. But they told me today at the dealership that they're breaking them on everybody's motors, so it's not just us. That was good enough. We got them all going, working on our navigation system here in town. We got all the signs backed up, that everybody did a really neat job painting them up. Really looks sharp. Group effort there. Had one of the globes up on Blue Heron, had an old style bulb in it. I don't know if it blew over or what, but it was melting the globe. We put LED corn light in it, put a globe on it. The neighbors all seemed to be happy. So. And we had, I guess some blockage, or people getting backed up with the ramp. So we added a few more signs to kind of help promote people in the right direction to get in and out of there and make room for the next one. And that's a little cleaned up behind the hog pit, the public ramp from the little flash flood, mini flood we got. Just pulled all the logs and debris out. Same with all the whistles and inlets of the waterways. Seems like we've had those about every other month at least. That's the big waterway behind Amico there. That thing really gets overgrown, and we made sure we got Walter in there, and he helped us clear that thing out before he went back to college. So that was his last big project he did with us. And then I haven't been up that way in a while, but I noticed the sign was getting a little hard to see today, so I went up there and got that weeded down and made sure the others looked good and that they remain on the list. About it, pretty much. Brittany was ill. She didn't come.
Okay, so there's nothing under project administration this evening.
I got some.
Next, thank you, Jake.
Yeah.
All right, next is the city engineer report, Mr. Scott Weiner.
Thank you. I have 3 projects to report on tonight. One being our boat ramp project. The bid documents, plans are completed. We're out for bids. We'll have bids in September, and we'll be able to present those to you at the board meeting in September on what the contractor's bid prices are for the boat ramp repair. The other project, wanted to talk about the OSLOT grant that we are in the process of doing an application for restrooms at Grove Memorial Park. That is underway, working on that with Elaine Bumgardner. We've worked through some of the draft parts of that, and we'll be continuing to progress that, and we'll definitely have a draft report sometime early September. Our deadline for that is the end of September, so we're progressing that. And then the last project to talk about is we've been contacted about the possibility of putting in a crosswalk at the west end of town at 1444 West Main, which is close to the Tiki Bar. Seems like a lot of pedestrian traffic going across the street in that area. So we mobilized a survey crew last week. We're continuing to work on some draft sketches for that, and that'll be a coordination with IDOT, but that's something that we're trying to progress on as well. Any questions?
All right. Thank you, Scott. All right, let's go on to the mayor's report. First, I'd like to say a big thank you to Patty and Larry Hellrum for a $1,121 donation to the Grafton Food Pantry. Second is that it's been a busy month since the last meeting, and since then I've done several briefings. One, as you remember, in July with the VFW at their state convention, and then also two this the end of July at the American Legion, which is a follow-up from the last year when I did their convention, give them an update on Grafton and also the memorial and where we stand on that, which were well received. Second one was this last Friday, the Corps of Engineers had the MV Motor Vessel Mississippi, which is the large boat that the General travels in up and down the river. And in August, they do a low water inspection tour, and they come up with the commission that's been appointed by the president. And what that does is they have 6 civilians on the commission and the 2-star general that runs it, and they park, and this time they did it at St. Louis. So I went down there that last Friday and offered testimony on Grafton for the work that the Corps has done in helping us to do on fixing the problem with the siltation of the marina. Also talked with them, thanked the personnel on that, and then talked about the MRCTI program that they're working with Ducks Unlimited, is to have more wetland areas that help absorb waterways and floods, and then the last being the National Memorial, which they were interested in that. So that was a good meeting. There was probably about 75 people there, elected officials and so forth from Missouri and Illinois, and so it was a good session. This gentleman in the white shirt is Mr. John Jadwinski, and if you probably already know, he's the one that donated the boat that we're standing in front of, which is the staff boat, the strategic assault boat that was used by the SEALs in Vietnam in 1968 to 71. And it was built right here in Grafton, Illinois, and they brought it home. And so Mr. Jadwinski has donated this boat to the Grafton NMMA and for the memorial out here, and it sits at the Grafton Visitor Center. Now, Brittany's not here tonight, but she would tell you that we are now open at the Grafton Visitor Center 7 days a week. And the first Monday that we opened, after the boat got here that weekend, we had over, I think it was 45 people stopped in on a Monday. So there's a lot of folks that are coming through the visitor center now that we're open full time down there. So that's great. Great news for Grafton. Also, too, we had a visitor the week before last. We had the governor of Illinois stop in, and he spent an hour with us at the visitor center. He went over looking at the boat, also the National Memorial Site, and we sat and had a long discussion on grants and so forth. And so they're looking to help us with a grant of the state, and we're keeping our fingers crossed on that to see where that goes. Next then was this last Saturday, August the 16th, Patty and Gary Box down on Main Street. They held an event with the 2nd Ranger Battalion out of St. Louis. August the 16th was National Airborne Day. So we had the Rangers from the 2nd Battalion come out with their Jeeps, park them in the street, set up displays out next to their building down there. They had a lot of people stop through and learn about what's going on and understand how Grafton is. And it worked out really well with the Jeep run that Steve Casson had out at his place. All the Jeeps going by honking and everything. We even had a couple of military trucks come through. So I don't know whose those were, but they were nice. There's a lot of work, as you see, as you come and going out of town, working on the actual National Memorial Site, the cliff out there. We're testing. Here you're seeing that they went in and they drilled and put bolts into the cliff face, which we'll be doing for pool testing. And we've also went ahead and did auger testing on the ground to see where bedrock is and get the tests on that. And as you probably notice as you come in and out of town, the new banner is up out there with the construction fencing, and looking forward to the dedication on 6/6/26. Any questions for the mayor? Let's move on then to Parks and Development. Alderman Richard Mosby's not here this evening, but there's something coming up on that. We'll talk under new development. Tourism and Marketing, Alderwoman Mary Jo Cody.
Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Next is Adopt a Lot, Alderman Jim Spencer.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. Next is Community Outreach, Alderwoman Donna Smith.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna go back and then I'll go forward. Children's Day was the first Saturday of August, and that was just a huge success. Some of you may have seen the pictures in the papers when that was made. There were just so many kids. There's such a big family event. I think those of us on the committee felt it was one of our very best Saturdays with all the families in Grafton showing up. It was just a delightful event. And the kids get to see our police car, they get to see the fire truck, they get to see a lot of those type of vehicles that are there. We had hoped that the helicopter would come down. It was on its way and then got called to Calhoun County for the real deal. And so we did not get the helicopter this year, but it was supposed to be here, but accidents happening and that puts a precedent. So it was I guess my biggest thanks goes to Chris Petrie, who as usual chairs the event. She just does a fantastic job getting everything organized and making it all work for us. And going forward, tomorrow's the senior luncheon. Italian beef sandwiches are on the menu, and of course they go.
Well, Donna, that was an excellent Children's Day up in Grafton Hills, and I mean, you've done a wonderful job with that. And Chris is also, she's the workhorse behind everything up there that goes, so we're very grateful. All right, the next is the Veterans Committee, Alderman David Hand.
No updates at this time, Mayor.
All right. Then there is no old business. The applicant that was requesting a liquor license has withdrawn their request. There is no actions to be taken in review that were taken under suspension of the rules. May I have a motion to approve the mayor's nomination of Chris Petrie, Cindy Hand, and Ann Hettinger to the Parks Committee?
Second.
Discussion. If you'll notice, the out right side in here, I'm just amazed every day at the size of this plant that's growing out here. How many of you seen Day of the Triffids? I think of that every time I see it. And if you don't know what the movie is, look it up. But it's a wonderful, beautiful plant. These ladies are working very hard on this, and I mean, they're just absolutely doing a wonderful job. I got to hats off to Peggy O'Neill, helping them out, letting them use her truck and the water and everything. And we're still working through what to get these, but again, thank you very much, ladies, up here for all your help. They're coming on to the Parks Committee as a special committee, subcommittee, that's the streetscape, which is Cindy's going to head up. Take the vote.
Cody? Smith?
Yes.
Spencer?
Yes.
Hand?
Yes.
Roy?
All right. May I have a motion to approve the Mayor's National Service Dog Proclamation?
So moved. Second.
All right, now what I would like to do at this point before I read this proclamation is that I would like to introduce someone who's been waiting very patiently, and that's Bob and Pat, who are they're from the Canine Services and Canine Companions, and they're brought with them their puppy that they're training, Bella. So if you would, Bob, bring the dog up, please, and Pat, you want to say a few words for us? Talk about what your organization does. Given all the aldermen, you have in front of you all the packet there of their organization.
This is Bela, and she's the 25th puppy that I've raised. Canine Companions is a national organization. They have regional offices throughout the United States, and they have satellite offices then to support the regional office, and the national headquarters is in Santa Rosa, California. Bela came to us in May, right after I turned in my previous puppy, Tim, for advanced training. And right now we're hoping, our fingers crossed, that Tim makes a sideward move into the Canine Companions Therapy Dog Program. He didn't make it in the service dog program. The requirements are pretty stringent, and Tim had a slow recovery. When an incident would happen, he was slow to recover, and he has some going upstairs issues. Service dog is supposed to go up and down the stairs exactly by your side. Tim tended to want to go up the stairs, so anyway, we're hoping we get good news on this one. And Bela came to us in May then, right after we turned Tim in. Volunteers are what drives Canine Companions. They couldn't do it with just a paid staff. So we had a volunteer pick Bela up at the Chicago airport, and she transported her to Bloomington where we picked her up. But she kept her overnight. She had a sleepover. She picked up 2 puppies. I don't know if she got any sleep or not, but the one puppy got picked up at her house, and she brought Bela to Bloomington where we got her. My puppy raising efforts began in the late 1990s when I filled out a really tiny application if I wanted to be a puppy raiser for Canine Companions. Our daughter babysat for a high school classmate of ours whose daughter was compromised by spinal bifida, and an organization of retired people in Illinois came to her house and converted her Jeep to hand controls instead of foot controls. And they had an application in their information. Did I want to become a puppy raiser? So I filled out, got a bigger application, and got my vet on board. That's how our journey started. The first puppy I raised was Glenda, and she came into the Springfield airport, and like Tim, she didn't meet all the requirements to be a service dog, and she was adopted by a board member's family member. And as it turned out, she developed Cushing's or Addison's disease. And that lady was a nurse, so she was in the right place at the right time. There are puppy raisers like me, and everything I do is all out of my own pocket. Sorry. When I started, it cost about $1,000 to raise a puppy. I think with about 5 dogs ago, it was $4,000 out of my pocket to raise a puppy. Initially, I paid for the puppy was flown from Santa Rosa, California to Columbus, Ohio, which is the office where I work, and we paid for the transportation costs from Ohio to wherever you happen to be. And so now National has picked up that cost, but they don't always come where you want them to come. They come into Bloomington and Springfield, and as I said, she came into Chicago. Right after COVID, we had one come in on a private jet to Columbus, Columbia, Missouri. A pilot and his jet, he volunteered his services to transport puppies, and his wife was with him. And we were all told to bring cleaning materials with us, so we all ended up with buckets and paper towels and everything. And his wife walked out of the plane and carried each puppy to us, and they were immaculate, as was she. So, because sometimes when you get puppies at an airport, they're not really clean. When I got my first puppy, I got a puppy, a paper manual, and a VHS tape, and it kind of good luck with what you're doing. So it's all become very electronic now. There are classes online, and Zoom classes online, and then videos online for training. I prefer to do it in person, so I train in Woodford, and I do private lessons in Mount Olive and in Jacksonville, and we have some friends who don't have children, they have show dogs, and so we train in their private facility one time a week. So the puppies are named, it's chronological order as the letters of the alphabet. So she came from a V litter, since there aren't many V names, it was a VW litter. She flew with her sibling Weaver to us. But we haven't, with 25, we haven't covered every letter of the alphabet. Some puppy raisers take great pride that they covered every letter of the alphabet. Any questions about what I do?
We have questions. Mary Jo, you have one?
Yes, I have a question. So as a business owner, we have a restaurant in town, and we get people who come in and they, you know, I think they order off Amazon and it says service dog.
Sure.
And what is because a real service dog would sit under the table and stay with
Yeah,
the
they
people.
would be a little older than this, and yes, they would be under the table.
So what do you do?
I don't know about other organizations, but our organization, let me go back to, I turned Tim in, and he would have gone through 6 months of advanced training. Then he would be teamed with somebody, and they would be evaluated as the team. You know, he would have been evaluated as the dog, and the team is evaluated, and they're given a public access card, which means they pass that test. And I don't know legally whether you can ask somebody if their dog has public access or not. But yeah, they compromise the paper lot. Often I'm turned away from places, some restaurants, some other shops, and I always tell them that the dog is, except for her, probably better behaved than most children that come in wherever that place is.
We've raised, this is number 25, as Ken said. Not all the dogs make it. It's a special dog to be a service dog. We have placed 6 or 7.
All with children.
All with children. And when we say turning the dog in, that's a big payment right there. Yeah, little kids. We have a companion and it's a bridge. It's a bridge to the rest of the kids who go work with the rest of the lives. Bill's a pretty good girl. She's
This is her first public appearance. She's been shopping a couple times. Any other questions?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you for what you do.
All right. All right, while they're doing that, let's take the vote.
Cody?
Yes.
Smith? Spencer?
Yes.
Hand?
Yes.
Roy?
Aye.
All right, the Nationals, I'm going to do the proclamation here, the National Service Dog Proclamation. I'm not going to read it all, but it's been in your packet. But what I wanted to basically say is now, therefore, in recognition of service dogs and the adults and children with disabilities in our community, I, Mayor Michael Morrow, do hereby proclaim September to be National Service Dog Month in the city of Grafton, Illinois. Thank you very much, Bob and Pat.
Thank you.
What a cute dog. All right, are there any items to be referred to the next meeting? Hearing none, then the council is now going to go into closed executive session, so if I'd ask that you clear the room, And then when we come back, there will be a vote, so if you're interested, you can come back in when we open the door. So thank you all very much, and be safe going home. Turn off.
Not really.